Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Today is January 9th, 2023, and the word of the day is compassion. So what does compassion mean? Compassion means to alleviate suffering. And compassion comes from love. So also compassion means to understand, to soothe, to comfort. And there's a myriad of ways that you can do this, right? And often when we think about compassion, we think about how can we be compassionate towards others. But what I want to encourage you today is to ask yourself is, how can I be compassionate towards myself? A better question is if I believed and had faith that I was the source of compassion, how would I love to be towards myself? Right? So compassion is the opposite of being critical. It's having positive self-talk, being kind to yourself, forgiving yourself, loving yourself. And if suffering is the alleviation, if compassion is the alleviation of suffering, I would say that we have a lot of work to do on ourselves first, and then being that example towards others, right? So, and alleviating our own suffering, we're holding that energy of compassion when we alleviate our own suffering. So to me, suffering is when we are experiencing fear, anger, shame, guilt, envy, jealousy. But the core of it is fear. And most suffering, like if I would say like 99.9% of suffering comes from fear. And in order to stop suffering, we must heal the fear, right? So, and self-realize who we are, which is love. But what if we don't have examples of love around us? We don't even know what love is. Well, that's when you have to tune into yourself and ask the questions, have a higher power, you believe in God. Because there's also ideas about God that are based in anger, wrath, and judgment. And none of this, from my perspective, is true about God. That's all there to create suffering, if you will. And so when we are caught up in loops of fear, we're creating our own suffering. And especially if like we've been through trauma and we keep thinking about it, we haven't healed it, we're judging that situation, we are rehearsing the suffering and bringing it into our lives. So I had this issue with my dad, and basically I resented my dad for doing what he did to me growing up. And basically, he put me in a situation where I had to get married. And if I didn't get married, he was going to leave me in another country until I was accepted. And for the longest time, I resented him. I felt betrayed and I felt hurt. And since then, we have reunited and we speak and we've healed our relationship. And so I've had this pain in my shoulder, like on my left shoulder. Yeah. And I've done all the things. I've gotten acupuncture. I've done chiropractic. I've done massages. I've done everything. And guess what? This pain never left me. And I thought, I don't know what it is. Like, I really don't know what it is. And so the other day, my dad called me and we talked. And all of a sudden, the pain was gone. And I made the connection and the correlation that this pain that was in my shoulder was energetic, it was emotional, that was causing my physical suffering. Physical pain is physical suffering as well. And so as this word came up today, and I was pondering the word and thinking about the word, and I actually had the pain again. And so I decided to send my dad love. That is compassion, right? I'm sending my dad love because it's a branch. Compassion is a branch of love, if you will. So I put my hands on my heart and I sent my dad love to where he's at. And my shoulder pain alleviated. And so to alleviate your own suffering, sometimes you have to send love and compassion to others. But first and foremost, it's a good idea to learn compassion and love for yourself. And the first thing that I would encourage you to do is really stop perpetuating the judgments, the criticisms, the regrets, the hurts, because I did that for so long. And I didn't know how to stop it. But once I connected with a higher power, that changed everything for me. I realized who I was, and I wasn't those things. I wasn't the fear. I wasn't the anger. I wasn't the judgment. Because I thought that's who God was, because that's what I was raised with. But when I had an experience with God, an experience, it's not something intellectual, it's physical, it's intellectual, it's all the things. It shifted my perspective about myself because I did have all these perceptions about myself. And I began to develop compassion for myself and love for myself. And it's not a love of the world, like it's so much greater than that. I mean, yeah, like there's an exchange of love and friendship between us, between people, right? But there's nothing like the compassion and love that you receive from God. And in order to give yourself that, you need to know what that is for you. If you believe the universe, angels, whatever your thing is, for me, it's God. I needed an understanding of what compassion is, because I'm sure I experienced some compassion in my life growing up, but I lived in a very tormented place. And so not only did I not have compassion for myself, I didn't see great role models, and I didn't have compassion for other people. Compassion, alleviating the suffering. I did not know how to alleviate my own suffering. So I suffered for a very long time. And I'm not saying that it's all gone, because I have moments where I slip back, but because I practice and practice and practice, and I'm doing this work, I'm getting better and better. And that's a space that I'm holding, not only for myself, right, but for other people to step into. And so whenever you are judging yourself, criticizing yourself, rehearsing fears, worries, you're out of self-compassion. And I would say you're in suffering. And the point is to catch yourself, when you're doing this, and be like, no, that's not loving. And shift to the energetics that we are creating, that we have been creating, about how would you feel if you believed and had faith that you are the source of compassion. You have the source of compassion within you. How would you be towards yourself? So anything that is not compassionate towards yourself is really, in a way, abusive. It creates suffering. And so when those things come up, be aware of them and know that that is not, that's more coming from your ego, and it's based in fear, and it keeps you in bondage, and bondage creates suffering, right? You don't feel expansive. You don't feel like your true identity. And even if you don't know how, you'll figure it out if you ask questions. You're brilliant. You have all the answers within you and all around you. You have angels and angelic team that you can call upon. I love angels. I use my angels all the time. Mainly, I use them to help me find my keys, or something like that. If I lose something, I'll just be like, hey, angels, where are my keys? Or where's this? Or where's that? And so you have support, and you can lean on that support, and you can call upon that support. And yeah, self-care, like taking care of your body and your, kind of like, a lot of compassion and self-love is equated to outside care. But to me, self-love and self-compassion is alleviating the fear, the worry, the anger, the trauma, right? You alleviate all of those, and the outside just happens. And it can happen, you know, outside, inside, inside, outside. It's just that you can fix the outside all you want. But if you don't fix the inside, you will not feel good. And the point is to feel amazing, to feel really bliss. The state of awakening and enlightenment and self-realization is blissful. It's peace. It's all the things. It's all the things. It's abundance. It's wealth. It's joy. It's harmony. It's all the things that we've been talking about. And so I guess the homework today would be to send yourself love, you know, to place your hands on your heart, and whatever that trauma was that you experienced, or somebody hurt you, and to forgive yourself for being in that situation. It doesn't matter why that happened or how that was created. I mean, it could be from this lifetime, it could be from past lifetime, who knows? And there's good that came out of it, regardless of how we only want to see the bad. Like, my circumstance caused me to awaken to my divinity. My trauma was so bad that it pushed me into the direction of awakening. Now, did it have to go like that? Not necessarily. Somehow I created that, right? I created that reality. And maybe one day I'll understand why I created that reality. But there are experiences that you've had in your life, and for whatever reason that you created that, because it's not about blame, it's about you are the creator of your reality. And I take responsibility for the creation of my reality, every single part of it. When I first heard this, I used to like really hate it when people would say that, because it would piss me off. I'd be like, as a child, I didn't deserve this and I didn't deserve that, and da 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 da. Okay, sit with yourself and forgive yourself for being in that situation. So self-compassion, send yourself love for being in that place, for experiencing those hurts. And try that for 3 minutes. Have compassion for yourself by speaking to yourself lovingly. When that critical voice comes up, like, oh, well, you're not where you want to be, or you're supposed to be, or whatever your self-talk is, right? Everybody has their own self-talk, their own judgments toward themselves. Send yourself love and self-compassion to those places that are judgmental and critical. Because in reality, they need your love in order to heal. They are not you. You are the light. Those are the shadows. And how do we dissipate the shadow? We be the light. And so how I was the light today is I sent love to my dad. And basically, he's a person that, I'm just going to say it here, he was a person that threatened to take my life, had an intention to take my life. And I forgive him. I send him love. Why? Because I know that he is suffering. A person that's not suffering would not have those thoughts, right? A person that's in love and in joy and in peace does not think about harming another person. A person that's free from anger, envy, jealousy does not take out those things against another person, right? Violence, crime, whatever you want to attach it to. And so self-compassion to me is a feeling. You have to get into the feeling. You have to feel love towards yourself in areas where you have shame, in areas where you have guilt, in areas where you have fear, you felt fear, areas where you experience trauma, areas where you judge yourself or you're judging yourself. And the more you do that, the more those things dissolve and the more you become clear of your ego, if you will, and clear to embody the love that you are and be that love wherever you go without saying a word. I mean, of course you can talk and say, socialize. But what I'm saying is you don't have to. It's just a vibration that you carry and people pick up on it, people feel it. And you get to give that to other people who are still suffering. But the source that alleviates the suffering is you when you accept to receive the self-compassion, the love that's available to you. So that's it for today. Have an amazing time with this word. I hope I was clear. I know I kind of got deep into it, but I kind of needed to give you a background so you know that I don't just talk my talk, I walk my walk. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So, see you tomorrow. Bye.